For 25 years, Henry Phillips lovingly shared his photographic observations from the pages of the Baltimore Afro-American newspaper. He didn't fool the eye with darkroom magic when portraying his Baltimore. He lived it, loved it, and photographed it, just the way it was. As a young soldier, Henry Phillips served in the European and African theaters of World War II. And it was there he learned to use a camera, a lesson self-taught that would eventually produce a photographic legacy.
I thought that Henry Phillips was a very understated, quiet man on a mission. He told the other side of the story that in spite of the hardships of being an African American in this country, that we still made a life of substance and meaning and dignity and elegance.
Frank Phillips, Henry's brother, was living just that kind of life. As the art director for the Baltimore Afro-American, it was Frank that got Henry a job on the newspaper. Henry would eventually become head of the photography department.
Afro was so big then, there were other Chicago Defender, Amsterdam News, all these other black papers, but Afro was so big and encompassing, so that's why they sent him all over, and everybody welcomed him in because that was the paper that exploded all the news with black folks.
Also exploding was the technology of taking unposed photographs.
What contributed tremendously to the power of storytelling through photography was the invention of flashbulbs. Photojournalists like Phillips had been freed from the tripod and slow film speed and could work anywhere, day or night.
Henry Phillips made the best of that freedom. He used it when he captured Baltimore's legendary nightlife. Ella Fitzgerald, known for her voice that flowed around rhythms, also displayed uncanny precision of a different type for a ping-pong game so impromptu, the trademark fur coat stayed on. Duke Ellington, one of America's greatest composers and Washington, D.C. native, seemed equally at home playing in Baltimore. Louis Armstrong came to town to single-handedly blast the music world out of its tired traditions.
The music tradition here in Baltimore was really critical because we know that in the years after he shot those pictures, we dismantled that part of Pennsylvania Avenue, and the Royal Theater no longer exists. These were wonderful moments for us where we could shine or where we could just have fun. Henry Phillips was there with his camera, right on time, quietly just shooting, shooting, shooting.
The legacy left by that lifetime of shooting is in the hands of Henry's son, Irving Phillips Jr., now retired from the Baltimore Sun, where he spent 25 years shooting photographs. Much of his time is spent in his basement, where with other family members, he goes through the thousands of negatives taken mainly between 1948 and 1973.
He loved what the Afro stood for, reflecting black history, capturing the moments of American history.
And Henry Phillips was very adept at capturing moments. We were just so absolutely grand and wonderful and so thoroughly enjoyed the life that we could create for ourselves in spite of the horror of living in a mainstream America where it was a constant struggle and a battle.
And when it came to the battle itself, Phillips' camera was on the front lines.
He always said, it's not what a man does. He said, all men do the same thing. It's not what you do, it's how you do it. We're there to record the history, and we're there to be journalists.
It may have been the Afro-American newspaper that put Phillips in the right place at the right time to document events. But it was pure Phillips artistry that captured the right moment. At Martin Luther King's funeral, when two women met whose faces reflected a mutual understanding about loss, Phillips made a photograph that required no caption.
My favorite photo was the picture he took of Coretta Scott King at Martin Luther King's funeral with Jackie Kennedy. That picture of them was the only one like it. No other person in the whole country got the exact same picture he got. And I think it was only one other person that got the two of them together.
Phillips had a very sensitive eye and understood that his role was to tell a story through his photographs. Billie Holiday, who he photographed on the street, is just another shopper, but she clutches the purchase she made at the liquor store. Phillips perceptively showed Holiday's companions, looking concerned and walking a step behind her, like ladies in waiting for a tragic queen.
Each particular moment meant something, and you really had to concentrate when you're looking through that eyepiece. It's all about recording the moments. You stop that moment of history forever. It'll never happen again. We got this shot of Jackie hitting that home run. We got him stealing home stuff I have never seen anywhere in books. We got Roy Campanella and Satchel Paige together in the batting case. He's got a ton of stuff on the Negro Leagues. Josh Gibson, he's got a cup in his hand. They're pulling him off. He must have had a collision with another player.
They call him a one-shot man. I was a retouch artist then, and most of his pictures didn't need retouching. He was so good, he'd never make a bad picture.
He believed everybody was just as important as the next person. The littlest girl he took on the corner, or families got together, weddings, he believed they were all just as important.
Phillips' photographs remind us about how special we are as human beings. He was in service to his community and to his people and to his family. This was his passion.
So strong was that passion that somehow the very makeup of the Phillips genetic code seems to have been affected. Not only did 2 of his sons become photographers, but now there's a grandson in the picture-making business.
The pictures and the history kind of just rubs off on all my little cousins or all the rest of the family members. All have pieces of history because everyone's been with him one time or another, taking pictures.
If it wasn't for him taking the pictures and them printing them, you know, a lot of stories wouldn't have got told. It wasn't work to him. And he did that till almost the day he died.
He was greater than great. He was well known, and all he had to do was walk down the street and everybody, you know, waving, hollering at him, because he was a real friendly person. After his death, I had to draw a cartoon. Well, that was a rough one that I ever done. I was crying the whole time I was working on it.
His photographs are images that have tremendous humanity and warmth. You want to love looking at them a long time. And pictures do that for us. They charge our passions and the warm memories or even the sad memories. We get to relive them again and we get to connect them into the reality of where we are in our history.